mics are on. You're good.
Present.
Good.
Bethany
All right.
said you're pulling that.
Good evening. I'll call to order the Township of
All
Hampton
right.
Council meeting for Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. We'll start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Ms. Blackburn?
Present.
Ms. Fritsch?
Present.
Mr. Midgley?
Present.
Mr. Sholey?
Present.
Dr. Johnson? Present. Mr. Speakman?
I am here.
All right. We'll start with administration, please.
After everything we covered last month, I have nothing to cover this month.
All right. Public safety then, please.
I'm gonna let JR take that one.
They're excited to see me too. 3 months in a row. Good evening. This is a request to release $70,000 for the police station renovations under the capital funds budget, which is budgeted at $60,000. So I'll go over this project. What this involves is two projects within the police station. One's the interior lighting upgrades to LED, converting them from fluorescent to LED. This was supposed to be done during the HVAC project, but we pulled back from it because the sub had a cost that I thought was a little too high. So we pulled that out of that project. It was kind of a alternative add during that project when that was approved last year. And this also involves converting a small garage that the police station has into an EMS day room. This will also be utilized for the police department to use after the EMS vacates the building when their project is complete. So the interior lighting, again, replacement of LED lights and associated switches and controls. Some areas will have dimming options, and those will be like the offices. That cost from two costs. Height Company, which will be all the supplies and materials, for $14,006.50, and then Diltz will do the install for $17,800. Comes to a total of $31,806.50. The EMS day room consists of garage door removal, which is on the outside on the side of the building on Chief Volokovich's, where his office is at. That will be removed and a storefront will be installed to aesthetically match the same exterior of the other storefronts, specifically Chief Volokovich's side door and window. And then we'll have HVAC is needed in that room. Right now there's just currently just heat, so AC will need to be added, so a split system will be installed. Some minor and electric data runs, ceiling install, paint, flooring, and with the flooring there needs to be a subfloor installed to level out the flooring because there's a drop when you go into the garage. It kind of levels itself to the asphalt level, so there'll be a subfloor installed on within that, so everything is level within. The cost on that is Diltz Enterprises will do that at a cost of $31,448. Shaw Flooring is about $1,000. The total cost with that is $32,448. So the total project cost with this amounts to $64,254.50. So I needed to add some contingency in there just from the EMS garage, which I don't see much, but the uncertainty with the lighting install and electric wires that are run through, we might have some contingency with that. So I just kind of evened it out at the $70,000, which brings it to roughly 10% contingency, more like a 8.5. So that's that project in whole.
Yeah.
Has EMS had a chance to weigh in on the changes to make sure that it's going to meet their needs?
Yes, the four of us met. Chief, EMS, Ryan and myself have met. Everybody had agreed on what to do. And again, the longevity with it was to make it usable for after EMS vacates.
Yeah, and that would be my point. I know this came in slightly over what we had expected in the budget, but if you look at several other projects we awarded just last month, municipal building renovations came in $20,000 under. That's with contingencies, and I know, JR, you're anticipating it could possibly be even lower than that. The wayfinding signage project, once we get the reimbursement from HCA, we're at least looking at 10,000 in savings on that, if not probably more. So I think there's plenty of funds in the capital improvement fund to do this, and it solves the short-term problem with EMS and their space constraints, but over the long term, it solves a problem that Chief Velakovich has in his department with space as well, and gives him a usable office space when everything is said and done. So,
Anyone else have any questions?
So just kind of when we first budgeted this at $60,000, we had a scope. Has the scope changed, or are we just seeing dollars increase?
We didn't have a scope for the EMS garage, or I call sorry, EMS day room, I'll call it.
So that's additional to what we thought originally?
Yeah, we had a cost for the lighting, so we kind of roughed, estimated a number. I did, not really thinking. It's kind of hard when you're trying to budget a storefront.
Yeah.
Not knowing what to do with the garage door. And I think the easiest thing with removing that garage door, was to put a storefront in, and instead of trying to match the drive-it and the brick veneer that's on there. The other option was leave the garage door and then just frame on the inside. But then we lead into the longevity of it, like what,
Yeah, that's
you know,
terrible.
what are we trying to win off this one? So
Yeah.
that's why we led into that. Now, without that storefront, yes, we would have been well under.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thanks, JR. Chief, anything else?
That's all I have.
All right. Community services, please.
Good evening, everybody. The first item on the agenda is possible award of contracts for our annual construction equipment rental and construction tradesman program. This program has been in effect for about approximately 15-20 years, and the purpose of it is to award contracts to local contractors for certain projects that our employees could possibly do, but they assist us. Examples of projects are storm sewer and sanitary sewer line replacements, detention pond maintenance, and for the tradesmen, building maintenance. An example of that was the soccer building restrooms that were redone last year. Council gave authorization to advertise for bids for this program at their January meeting, and 9 bid specifications were mailed out to local contractors. The bids are due on March 18th. At that time, they will be open, and we will have recommendations for you at your regular meeting.
Anyone have any questions?
Thanks. Thank you.
Who's handling item B?
Mr. Young will return to the podium for the next two.
Excuse me. This is a request to release the $25,000 budgeted under the capital funds budget for the Public Works architectural design. Architectural Innovations was selected via recommendation and background research. The reason for this was their firm details get into municipal and government entities, so that kind of led that way a little bit. So what we're looking to do with this is really a programmatic design, a facilities assessment, and what they will do is they'll go through with a subcontractor / engineering firm, HF Lens, and kind of do a proposal of a programmatic design to look at locker rooms, the restrooms, space utilization in certain areas like that, break rooms. With DES vacating soon, that leaves other space that could be utilized as well. We don't really meet the needs for our female restroom. It was kind of like a closet at one point, so it
Yeah, I've
needs
done
to-
some ride-alongs. It's about closet.
So that needs addressed. The locker rooms are very outdated, that need addressed as well. They look at ADA issues too. So in their scope, they'll meet with township representatives attend 2 interim meetings, create this programmatic design with the engineer study, and then develop priorities and facility improvements for this. This will give us the option to have a conceptual design with this, and then a budgetary of how we move forward on these type of renovations. So just to give some of their firm details, they have done, again, like I said, municipal and government, amongst others. They've gone into education, healthcare, and recreation. They've done Monroeville's Municipal Authority admin building and their maintenance complex. That included offices, multi-bay garages, locker rooms, and a multi-use room that was, I think, more really for lunch, break room, etc. But it looked like it was more of like a multi-use that tables could be kind of slid around and used for other things. PennDOT, they have a new proposed with that with their maintenance garage, and they did City of Pittsburgh's maintenance garage. Some government things that they have done, the airport terminal, they're involved into that on a minor level. Housing Authority, Allegheny Conservation, multi-purpose facility. Some education, locals, RMU, Duquesne, Gateway, and Gateway High School and Montour High School. Some recreational things. They had some involvement with PPG, with the Pens. They've done Elizabeth Forward's stadium upgrades and Armstrong's stadium design, which is right now in, I think, their schematic design on that. So.
When they provide their plan, I assume that it's going to be, I don't want to say tiered, but there'll be options we can, for different amounts. It's not going to be one plan that comes back and says, this is what you need to do for X amount. It's going to be, here are the things that you can do, and here's how much each one of them will cost.
Yeah, programmatic design is kind of, it's really, it's the first step that you do in the design phase. With that, I don't know if they'll get real specific on the locker rooms are going to cost this,
Okay.
The bathroom is going to cost that. It might be an overall budgetary at first. Once you start getting the schematic, then you could start dwindling and selecting certain areas.
Okay, but this plan from them will be a step before that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You move into schematic design after the programmatic design.
Okay.
And then you get into construction documents and so forth, when you really start, getting into budgeting things out. This will also give us, insight on, some of our mechanicals, electrical, that, some of it's been replaced. Our mechanicals are up to date. Electrical, some of it's been replaced, some of them it's still old. And then there's some underground plumbing that could probably be addressed when we go and do locker room / restroom renovations with that.
So when do you hope to have that plan kind of done, so that we'll have an idea of what we're looking at over the next few years budget-wise?
I haven't gotten a time frame on their level
Okay.
yet. I let them know our time frame, which would be, if it gets approved, signature would be end of March and then April. Something like this, from my background, it's usually 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Before they put everything together, they meet with the representatives of the township. Specifically, it could be the 2 foremen, Susan, Ryan. They may want to talk to somebody else randomly when they start doing that, and that's our choice too. But that's kind of how they do this, do their steps, and then gather that information and kind of, start building from there.
Okay, but you do expect to have something by the time Jerry starts working on the budget for 2026?
Yes, we would, correct.
Great,
Yes.
thank you. Any concerns, Jerry?
No.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Just kind of real quick, so we've got a couple different items feeding into this $22,000 number. One, do you have a copy of the Lentz engineering proposal? It says see attached proposal, it wasn't included in the packet. So I'd be interested to see what their scope is.
I did not.
And then on the architectural innovation side for 11-1 or whatever their proposal is, how many hours are they estimating providing? Because essentially that's what we're buying. We're buying engineering hours. I'm curious what they think their engineering effort would be.
I will have those answers for you next meeting. if you don't
Perfect.
mind. Okay.
Anyone else? All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Item C then, please.
Item C, this is the possible award of a contract regarding the concrete repairs at the community center and possible other locations within the municipal complex. The bids are due March 21st, next Friday, so they will be open that day as well. Currently, we have roughly 13, I think was the last count. I believe I sent another one out this morning. So I think we're up to 13 or 14 contractors that requested the documents. Only two of them did a site visit. So that's kind of where we stand at this point.
But the rest of them have about 10 more days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think they would be more site visits up to this point. So unless they're really going off of the architects or the engineers' measurements and the prints, you know, that's their choice on that.
Okay.
Any questions?
Do you give greater weight to somebody that's done a site visit?
No, I
Okay.
mean, not something like this, because a typical concrete contractor, they're probably doing a plus minus 10% on it.
Okay.
So they're gonna cover themselves one way or another, and usually it's plus 10%.
Yeah.
Just so they, you know, waste factor and
Yep.
and that stuff. But, I do look at site visits as a positive though, because, you know, I think they need to see it, the logistics and how the community center has operation. And I haven't had, only two of them, and
Yeah.
I explained that, like, this building is gonna be operable, during the time frame. So, you know, yeah,
All right.
personally, yes, I do.
Anyone else have any questions?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else for community services?
Thank you.
Environmental services?
Good evening. I have nothing to add, but Mr. Horvat is here this evening for a presentation.
Thank you for entertaining me 2 weeks early this month. Conference the last week of this month, and I want to be up at State College, so. We brought some drone images today. So the image you're looking at there is a still. That is the kind of right side of the photo is progress on the administration building and what will eventually be the new garage. The white building at the bottom of the screen, the bottom of the frame, is actually your existing sludge dewatering building. That will eventually become part of the footprint of the garage. The garage will extend down almost out of the frame. Actually, it will be out of the frame once it's all said and done. So that will be the office and garage building. That's progress to date. A good bit of the masonry is up. Some of the floors are poured. They're making good progress on that. Not as fast as they'd like to be. They wanted to be up and under by the time we got to the end of last year. So for obvious reasons, the winter weather hasn't been great to them. So the next one. So this is kind of still looking back the opposite way, looking from the toner end of the facility. You can see both the digesters there, the circular tanks on the top of the frame. I wanted to point out the flood wall. The flood wall kind of comes from the bottom of the screen, kind of comes off to the left and then angles back towards the existing plant. I don't know that I've shared a real good picture of that up to this point, but that was a nice shot. You get a real good sense of where that flood wall is. And then if you just continue straight with that line right through the existing plant, once the existing plant is demolished, that's essentially the alignment that flood wall will take. And then I think did it come up? Nice, okay. So we also did a video. So this is starting at the Duncan Avenue side. Again, you can see the admin building on the bottom left there about to leave the screen. And then the dewatering building, the roof is on now. They started doing some startup and pre-checks on that equipment last week. The digesters there coming, the circular digesters. The first digester equipment was started up last week, and they are wasting sludge, the new digester now. And then the old news SBRs have been in operation for a couple months now. And then we'll turn around here and come back.
You know, if Disney did this, it would be a little more exciting.
It would be. So, bottom left, you can see the outfall kind of coming in and out of the screen.
Do we have money to
Oh, back
afford a
down.
Disney production?
Well, I will say, we have a special treat this evening because the gentleman who is our drone pilot, our esteemed drone pilot, is in the audience this evening. So if you have any criticism, constructive or otherwise, he's here to hear it from you.
Had a few swoops just to get the
Just a
motion
little
going.
excitement. The old clarifiers, that strip kind of right in the center of the screen, those have been now been filled up to grade. So they're level with the driveway now, which is a huge step. They were kind of pushing that off too because everything was so wet. But yeah, I mean, construction continues. It's still going fairly well. It's actually been fairly quiet lately. We've put together, we've been working the last couple of weeks to compile a punch list of items from phase one. I kind of revisit we had a startup punch list that was kind of like, get this stuff done now. And then since there's a lot of little nuisance stuff that came up, we've been working to compile that list for both contractors. I suspect we'll probably deliver that might even go out this week. We've reviewed it a couple of times, talked to Jim again today, talked to the inspector again today, so we've been going back and forth on that. But yeah, I mean, the next big thing will be, we're wasting sludge of that first digester. The second digester will be started up here probably within the month. Dewatering equipment in the dewatering building will start up within the next month. And that'll be the final piece of the actual kind of process part of the project. We kind of called it phase one and then phase two being the rest of it, but it's kind of like phase 1.5, and then phase two is that admin building and the remaining demolition and site work. So the other thing is once we get the digesters in place and the dewatering equipment in place, it's at that point that we notify DEP that the project is complete. Because at that point, all the process truly is in operation, and then we'll get the modified NPDES permit, and that's a milestone that we'll look forward to probably in the next 3 months. So, any questions?
The sound attenuator.
The sound attenuator, I share your frustration, so the contractor is very well aware of my frustration with that. I'm not exactly sure where that communication breakdown happened, but it did, and the order was delayed much longer. We thought it was ordered and we were waiting for it to come in, and we checked with him like 6 weeks after we had thought he had ordered it, and he said, "Oh, is that released?" So unfortunately, that's what caused the delay. It was received by the HVAC contractor yesterday, and they are scheduled to be on site on Friday to install it. So
All right, good.
he said, "Is that good?" And I said, "Last Friday." So, but yeah, and
With the weather.
I'm not ready to celebrate yet.
Yeah,
I'll be happy on Friday if it goes in. So, but
With
that's
the weather
that's plan.
finally getting warmer, I'm sure that homeowner wants to be outside, so.
Right, no, I understand. So yes, but it has been received, it's been confirmed as being received at their shop, and it's scheduled to be installed on Friday.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone have any questions? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the drone footage.
He's here for the next agenda item.
All right, Jim, anything else for environmental services?
Nothing at this time.
All right.
Thank you.
Zoning and planning then,
Okay,
please.
thank you, Madam President. First item is the Allison Park Pollution Control Facility lot consolidation application. So here is, well, we've just looked at the picture of the site, but, so we all know what we're looking at. But it's these parcels that are over here that are on the Mount Royal side of the property. So there are several here that we took ownership at the beginning of this property. This is just a, kind of a housekeeping item to clean this up and consolidate that with the main parcel. So this has been reviewed by Gateway, it's been reviewed by the Planning Commission, all comments have been addressed, so there's nothing outstanding with this one. I will be recommending approval in 2 weeks, and I will have a motion with conditions of approval for your next meeting.
Anyone have any questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, and then this is a carryover from last month. This is the extension of a sanitary line here on Wagner Road, about this far back. So this has been completed, inspected, we have all the agreements and everything in place, so I think we're finally ready to go on this one. Yep, and advertisement's still good, so in 2 weeks I will be asking you to approve that and enact that ordinance.
All right, any questions? All right, anything else for
I do
zoning
not.
and planning? All right, other business?
Would you like to give a plug to Community Cleanup Day?
Everybody always gives me weird looks when I do, so maybe I'll refrain, except to say it is a nice event.
I've signed up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I missed last year because we were in Alon, I think.
Yeah,
That's why. I couldn't remember why.
I
wasn't
come
there.
back early from Alon to do cleanup day.
It's my favorite, picking up garbage. I love it. I do. It's like, you get a good sense of accomplishment.
Is he making me
No,
sound
he's actually
insane or
he's
normal?
Not sure.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know, that could go either way.
State College.
It is a nice event, you do make a nice difference in the township, and it's usually a beautiful day. All right. And of course, we also have the Easter egg hunt coming up and the rain barrel giveaway.
Does Melanie need volunteers for the Easter egg hunts? She has in the past.
She
I
has in the
am available
past,
that
and-
day, so
Yeah.
He is looking for volunteers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed an email. Is there an email?
I haven't seen an email about,
I'll mention it to Matt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Friday,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
see if he can send an email out.
Yeah, that's fine. Happy to help with that one. I'm around.
unfortunately, that has not normally been a beautiful day
No, it's
recently.
always like-
Oh, it was cold.
yeah. Weather that day is always pretty turbulent.
Yeah, it usually is. All right, anyone else have any other business to discuss? All right, then thank you all for coming this evening. I will adjourn tonight's meeting. All right, Jerry, you look like you're